Very pleasant morning, dear students. Happy to see you today. And in the previous class, we have studied a monsoon diary from the authorization of Ruskin Bond. Ruskin Bond was one of the beautiful writers who have written most of the books for children. And in this particular poem, John Keats, he is also one of the best English writers and a poet. And he had written this poem on the grasshopper and cricket. Actually, here we are not supposed to take the two characters, grasshopper and the cricket, as characters. We are not supposed to take them as characters. You have to learn them as they both are representing the different kinds of seasons. The main seasons all throughout the world that we observe them are the two main seasons. One is the summer, the other one is the winter. Okay, the grasshopper represents summer and the cricket represents the winter. As we all know, these two are insects. Grasshopper as well as cricket are two insects. And before we are going to learn about this poem, I just wanted to tell you what is the importance of learning the literature of poetry. When we learn poetry, we enjoy a lot. There are too many elements in the poetry that we appreciate, and poetry is meant for learning the language at the same time enjoying the poetry. Poetry has its own ethical values of learning the things. You can learn with full of entertainment. You can appreciate the characters or the aspects which are explained or which are there or involved in this story. How can we imply these characters or maybe the elements of this poetry we can easily understand when we go about the poetry. Instead of prose, I am not saying that prose is not interesting, but I just wanted to tell you poetry is very enthusiastic to the children or to anyone, even elders. We also can enjoy poetry much because we appreciate the beauty of the poet, the way he writes about it. Okay, how John Keats is representing these two different kinds of seasons, the summer and winter. Let's move on. Before we get into this poetry, let me tell you something regarding the grasshopper and the cricket. On the grasshopper, on the days of summer and winter. Actually, instead of giving that title, here John Keats is used these two insect characters. Actually, these two insects are not portraying the characters here. They just portray or represents the seasons of the year. Unlike the ant and the cricket on page number 21 that we have already learned it, which tells a story, this is a nature poem. That tells a story, it tells the nature. We are all the nature lovers, isn't it? We are the lovers of nature. We love nature very much because we are a part of nature. Humans are a part of nature. I think so. That's the reason we love nature very much. Okay. Here it says, unlike the ant and the cricket, which we have learned it at the beginning of our grade 8. Okay, the very beginning stage of grade 8, we have learned this poem. But in this particular poem, we are not learning any story like what we have learned it before. Okay, the ant and the cricket is telling about a story consisting of some characters. But here in this poem, we learn the two different kinds of seasons. Okay, what is the effect of these two seasons on people and also in nature? Okay, this is a nature poem. In it, the grasshopper and cricket do not appear as characters, as I said to you in a story. Rather, they act as symbols. What do they represent? They act as symbols. So, here we are not supposed to learn anything like the characters in a story. We should learn or these two characters are not paint or not portray any characters, but they symbolizes the seasons. Okay, and each suggesting something else. What each one is suggesting? Each one is suggesting something. What is that? Read the poem and notice how the poetry of earth keeps on through summer and winter. The poetry of earth. Today we learn the poetry of earth. Here earth is telling a poem. It's called Poetry of Earth. Okay, we are learning more about the earth's poetry. In this, the two symbolizing the characters or the two elements or the two things are symbolizing the seasons, summer and winter. And it is never-ending song. Poetry is nothing but a song. When you give rhyme and rhythm to the lines in the poetry, you will make a song. That's why poetry is nothing but a song. That's why we all like it. Okay? Without singing songs, no occasion will be fulfilled, isn't it? We cannot get satisfaction, okay, without a song, isn't it? Even if it is puja at home or any occasion or any festival, without songs, that's it doesn't give any kind of, it doesn't add beauty to that occasion. Here also in this poem, we are representing or we are learning this poetry as earth's poetry. It is the earth's poetry which is consisting two important symbols, that is season, summer and winter. Let us come. I'll be reading out the entire poem and stanza by stanza I read it again and I'll explain it to you. Let me read out the whole poem. The poetry of earth is never dead when all the birds are faint with the hot sun and hide in cooling trees. A voice will run from hedge to hedge about the new mown mead. That is the grasshoppers. He takes the lead in summer luxury. He has never done with his delights, for when tired out with fun, he rests at ease beneath some pleasant weeds. The poetry of earth is ceasing never on a lone winter evening when the frost has brought a silence from the stone. There shrills the cricket's song, in warmth increasing ever, and seems to one in drowsiness half lost, the grasshoppers among some grassy hills. Okay, let us come to the first stanza. The first stanza is meant for summer. The next stanza or the second stanza is meant for winter. Let me go through the first stanza. The poetry of earth is never dead. The poetry of earth is never dead. Okay? The nature is always alive. The nature is always kept alive. And it is awakened also. It never gets sleep. The poetry of earth is never dead. The poetry of the earth never dead. Why, you know? When all the birds are faint with the hot sun during the summer season, the sun is so bright and hot, and throughout the day the sunshine could be seen, and especially the birds which are flying in the sky will get fainted because of the atmospheric heat that is caused by the sun. When the sun is emitting light and heat, it makes the atmosphere get hot. Okay? The hotness during summer season is high above. It is so severe. During this month of summer, the birds which are flying high, they get fainted. Why, you know? Because of the heat of the sun. So when they get fainted or about to faint, what does it mean by faint? Lose consciousness, become unconscious. Lose consciousness and become unconscious. Okay? They'll become inactive. They can't be so active. They'll get inactive. When they are supposed to faint or when they are getting fainted, they used to find some tall bushy trees in which they can take shelter temporarily. Some birds can stay there for hours together. Some birds just visit certain trees and take the cool shade of the tree, and they get relieved and fly again. The same thing can be seen here with the birds. Most of the birds will take temporary shelter on the top of the tree, and they stay there for some time and then they'll fly off. Why do they stay there for temporarily? Because they are unable to fly anymore, because they are getting the utmost hotness of the sun. They cannot stay out. That's why they have taken the temporary shelter on the top of the tree. Is that clear? And then, when all the birds are faint with the hot sun and hide in cooling trees, some birds will go and rest on the top of the hills in the cooling trees. Okay, how can you find the atmosphere under the tree? The cool shade we can enjoy. In the same way, the flying birds temporarily stop their flying and they'll be sitting on the branches of the tree, because the trees will cause them to get, okay, they can keep themselves, okay, warm by staying there, not warm, keeping themselves cool in the cool shades of the trees. When all the birds are faint with the hot sun and most of the birds hide in cooling trees, a voice will run from hedge to hedge, shout about the new mown mead. Okay, when the birds are taking temporary rest on the trees, there we happen to hear the voice of the grasshopper. Okay, what do we can hear? We can hear the voice of the grasshopper, which is making or shouting much louder, or making it shrill cry, or it is its voice is high pitched voice can be heard from hedge to hedge. Do you know what does it mean by hedge? Hedge is nothing but the high and tall constructions of the fences. The fence which is constructed little high above is called hedge. Again, hedge and fence has a difference. Fence is the height of the fence is low, whereas the hedge, the height of the hedges are little higher. Okay, the height of the hedge is little higher. It's little high above when compared to fence. I'll show you in the picture. Okay, and from hedge to hedge we can hear the one and only high pitched voice of this grasshopper, and this is the grasshopper's voice. He takes the lead in summer luxury. Even during the summer season, it takes the delight. Okay, it feels very happy and it expresses its pleasure by singing a song, because for grasshopper, maybe this summer season is the most favorable season for it. Otherwise, it never make high pitched voice from hedge to hedge. We can hear the voice of the grasshopper from hedge to hedge, because it is taking the lead in summer luxury. During the month of the summer, it's taking the luxurious way of living, and it takes the luxury. Luxury means here entertainment, fun. It finds fun during the month of summer, and he has never done with his delights. Okay, he forgets to eat something. He never eat anything. Okay, even it forgets to eat something. Grasshopper never eats much during the month of summer. I don't know why. I feel maybe because of this fun, or maybe because of having this pleasure during this season, it might have forgotten to eat. It's usually forget to eat something. He never ate anything during this month. Okay, and he has never done with his delights. Here, what does it mean by delights or delicacies? It is nothing but eatables. It doesn't eat anything, and it always finds pleasure in summer. And for when tired out with fun, he keeps on singing and singing and again. So finally it gets tired. So when it's singing and again, it gets tired. Continuous singing makes him get tired. He gets tired of fun. Just he wanted to have fun during this month. For that, what happens? He forgets to eat the delights, and it takes good time to sing the songs during the summer, and he completely forgets to eat anything, and he tired of fun. Sometimes you also get tired of fun, isn't it? You like playing games and sports, and after playing games and sports, on seeing you, we feel that you got tired, but you never look so. Even you also bodily get tired, but you feel utmost happiness. That utmost happiness, okay, it exceeds the tiredness. So that's why you never feel the tiredness anymore. You never get tired also. In other words, we can say. Let us come to the second stanza. What does the second stanza say? Let's move on. The poetry of earth is a ceasing, means stops never. Okay? The winter, especially the poetry of earth, is a ceasing or stopping never. There is no question of stopping the song of the earth. The poetry of earth, the earth's poetry never gets stopped. It never gets stopped. Why, you know? Earth or this nature is always be on full swing. Nobody can get tired of getting the pleasures of the nature. So the nature's song always continues, or the poetry of earth is always gets continued. It never gets stopped. Okay. On a lone winter evening, especially on winter evening, when the frost has wrought a silence. Whenever the frost is seen during the winter season, we can see the snowfall. Sometimes little bit of rainfall also can be seen with hailstorm, or hailstorms also can be observed. Not here, especially Shimla in North India, we can come across this kind of winters also. During the month of winter season, slight rainfall can be seen. Okay, and sometimes there is a snowfall, the frost everywhere. Okay, in some areas we can see the frost. The frost never get through the way. Okay, the way is completely interrupted by this frost, and we never make a good move. Okay, here he says that on a lone winter. Why it is said lone winter? During the month of winter, we can't see the people moving in great number on streets. Almost all streets are deserted. Deserted means gets empty. People, without people. Okay, you cannot see the people on roads. Even during the summer season, we can see at least some of the people, but usually during winter season, we never come across the people moving out. Usually, the very less number of people are moving out during winter. So that's why he says that on a lone winter evening, when the frost has wrought a silence. Wrought means brought about. The winter frost brought about the lonely atmosphere, has brought a silence. Okay, the frost brings a silence, and you can't find. Okay, and almost no one can be seen on the roads during winter. Okay, winter evenings and winter mornings are completely empty without people. Okay, the streets are empty without people. Very less number of people are moving here and there. Okay.